Hello, YouTubers. And once again, I have a stack of news articles pertaining to the election. So I'm going to go ahead and do this in a special edition. People that really don't want to hear any more about the election, and they don't like turning on my current event show when it's stacked up with a ton of this stuff. And then there's other people that enjoy listening to what's going on with this, or at least my rendition of it. So I'm going to put all this in a special edition for you. Uh, we'll go ahead and put this up tonight so you can enjoy it. Lord have mercy. They had the debates this evening, and apparently it's come out that Donald Trump won hands down on the debate. I listened to it. I will say this about Hillary. I'm not going to say in defense of her, but I will say I think she, for the most part, handled herself better in this debate than she has in the others, although everything that comes out of her mouth is a big lie. There was at one point that they couldn't get her to shut up. The moderator tried and tried, and Donald tried and tried, and she just kept going like the Energizer Bunny. But other than that, she didn't appear to be as rattled as she has in the last debate. So, I will give her that. But I thought that Donald Trump really handled himself well, and he brought up a lot of points about her lies and how she was avoiding issues that they were trying to get cleared with the debate. First article I have for you is off of Regated.com, and it says focus groups. Donald Trump won the final debate and Hillary Clinton flopped. Tonight was the last and final debate of the 2016 presidential election. At each debate, focus groups are asked who they thought came out on top. We are providing a breakdown of the strong points and weak points of both candidates. We'll be using Frank Luntz's analysis of the debate with his focus group. He is an American political consultant, pollster, and public opinion guru, best known for his focus groups during the past few decades. And there is a video that you can watch in this one. All these URLs, of course, are listed in the description of my video, so you can take a look at them at your leisure. It says, when Donald Trump spoke about Hillary Clinton's failures, even her own supporters sided with Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton's answer on the Clinton Foundation was a failure. That's another video you can take a look at. Voters liked when Donald Trump held the State Department accountable, and there's another video you can take a look at. Voters liked Donald Trump's response to NAFTA and TPP. Another video. Another video is when Hillary Clinton started blaming Russia, and voters didn't like it. An overview on this says it's clear Donald Trump came out on top. When Hillary Clinton was questioned about the Clinton's Foundation money laundering, she ignored it. Usually that's a sign of someone lying and trying to avoid the subject. Donald Trump's strong points were trade and fixing a corrupt system. So there you have that. And you can probably tell I'm downstairs in the office instead of upstairs in the studio, and my co-host Fred, the cockatiel, is putting in his commentary as well here. And so we'll see if I can get through this without Fred trying to out-talk me. The next one we have for you is off nationalenquirer.com, and it says Confessions of a Clinton Bagman in his own words. During the 1980s and 1990s, I was working in Hollywood as a reporter for several national magazines and newspapers. Because of my good relations with stars, publicists, and the press, I became a fixer, someone who helps stars keep embarrassing stories out of the press. I helped keep secrets safe for some of Hollywood's leading men. In 1991, my reputation was such that I was asked to work on behalf of a past rising figure on the national stage, Arkansas Governor William Jefferson Clinton. I attended a meeting in Hollywood where I was told by an intermediary, there will be lots of stories coming out in a tabloid press. We want them buried. I was informed that these stories would involve rumors of Bill Clinton's many sexual dalliances and an alleged ongoing affair of Hillary Clinton with a male member of her law firm, Benz Foster, as well as a female mover and shaker in Hollywood. for a retainer of $4,000 a month paid by a third party, not the campaign. I was told to keep these stories hush-hush, and in one of two ways: by trading access to Clinton's 4 positive interviews, or by paying the reporters. The payments were always cash, usually delivered in a movie theater or restaurant on Sunset Boulevard, and came in 2 denominations: $100 bills for heads up that a bad story was coming, or considerably more to kill the peace. It did not appear that the job would be terribly time-consuming. After all, Hillary reportedly had just one lover, and Bill's girlfriends were all in the past. Not so. The sexual dalliances were ongoing, and many communications with West Wing, Air Force One, and Camp David continued through 1998, a stunning length of time when one insiders that both the president and the first lady were supposed to be devoting their full energies to the business of the people of the United States. The gravest example of a Clinton lack of judgment occurred in March of 1994. Presidential brother Roger Clinton was marrying his 8 months pregnant bride, Molly. There was a bachelor party. Prostitutes were involved. Recordings were made, recordings involving Bill Clinton. Arrangements for a meeting between Bill and 26-year-old brunette were discussed when President was to arrive in Dallas for the ceremony. The tape recording was offered for sale to the National Enquirer. Before the publication and its then editor could publish a transcript, I swooped in and negotiated for the White House to give this paper exclusive access to the ceremony itself. Not even the Washington Post or the New York Times had that. The Enquirer was given leave to publish exclusive White House photographs. At the reception, while Bill Clinton sang with the piano player, Hillary was introduced to the Enquirer reporter. Her expression fierce, voice tight. She took and tightly held the reporter's hand and demanded, "Are we done now?" The reporter replied, "Madam First Lady, with this incident, yes. Of course, we were not done. This was one of many in an endless string of sexual stories arising from what exclusively was the Clintons' open, polygamous marriage. I've kept these secrets for a quarter of a century because Bill Clinton had become an elder statesman with heart trouble, and Hillary Clinton seemed to be focused at last on the business of doing her job, for better or for worse. I'm coming forward now because of the endless attention alleged discretions of Donald Trump have received. Nothing I have heard comes close to the sexual and moral corruption of the Clintons, many of which have yet to be revealed. Predictably, the liberal media is focused on one man's alleged misdeeds and ignoring others' proven sins. I mentioned some of these here now because we have only 2 serious candidates for the presidency and a few weeks remaining until the election. We should not be weighing whose corruption is worse. The Clintons win by a landslide if all were to be told, but who has the best idea and leadership skills to become president of the United States? So there's that information. Here's off of WND. It says Hillary escapes default in Benghazi case. It says here that Hillary Clinton has escaped a default judgment that was entered in a case over her liability for the deaths of Americans in Benghazi when an Obama-appointed judge adopted claims that she wasn't properly served. That excuse, however, now is over as the case moves forward. Whether or not the defendant was served with process in accordance with the applicable state law, defendant is now on notice of the lawsuit, and counsel entered in appearance on her behalf on September 15th, 2016, wrote Judge Amy Berman Jackson on Wednesday. She was appointed to the bench by Obama in 2011. Reported in August, the claims were brought by the parents of 2 of the Americans killed by Islamic terrorists in Benghazi. The case was filed in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia by lawyer Larry Klayman of Freedom Watch USA on behalf of Patricia Smith, the mother of Sean Smith, and Charles Woods, father of Tyrone Woods. The parents cite the FBI's determination that Clinton's handling of classified information through the use of a non-secure private email server was extremely careless. The plaintiffs allege that Clinton lied about the cause of the terror attack, including the statements to them, telling them in a private meeting that the attack was caused by a little-known online video. Jackson took almost no time to reach her decision, as the case earlier had been assigned to Judge Royce Lambert, a Reagan appointee, who only late Tuesday asked that it be assigned to another judge. Clinton's lawyers had protested his presence in the case after a court clerk entered a default judgment against Clinton because she hadn't responded. That ruling, however, did not immediately establish liability, and Clinton then told the court there are several reasons she should be given a pass for missing the deadline. Smith and Woods were killed in the September 11, 2012 jihadist attack on the American compound in Benghazi, while Clinton and other Obama administration officials were publicly blaming the deaths on response to an obscure YouTube video. Internal communications show they knew immediately that it was a terrorist attack. The wrongful death claims also alleges defamation and intentional and neglect infliction of emotional distress. Having used a secret private email server that we now know was used to communicate with Ambassador Christopher Stevens with confidential and classified government information, and which we also now know was likely hacked by hostile adversaries such as Iran, Russia, China, and North Korea, aligning with terrorist groups, it is clear that Hillary Clinton allegedly, neglectedly, and recklessly gave up the classified location of the plaintiff's sons, resulting in a deadly terrorist attack that took their lives. It is no coincidence that covert State Department CIA operations were being run out of Benghazi, Klayman said. To add insult to injury, Hillary Clinton told the plaintiffs that her sons were killed as the result of a video mocking the Islamic prophet Muhammad when she knew that they were murdered by Muslim terrorists. When the families responded to her lies, she called them liars to protect her reputation and presidential ambitions. She thus defamed the parents of fallen heroes, Tyrone Woods and Sean Smith, and committed other wrongful acts as alleged in the complaint. Clinton said in an email to her daughter immediately after the attack that it was an act of terrorism. Deputy Court Clerk Reginald Johnson had signed a document in the case stating it's appearing that the above-named defendants failed to plead or otherwise defend this action through duties served with summons and copy of the complaint on 8/11/2016, and an affidavit on behalf of the plaintiff having been filed. It is the 9th day of September 2016, declared that the defendants are in default. And there's video in this if you want to see the video. And it says, Klayman pointed out that there was evidence about the lawsuit being served on Clinton. Process server Jackson Johnson stated that on August 11, 2016, that copy of the required documents to defendant Clinton's campaign headquarters. This was done only after plaintiffs had attempted to serve defendant Clinton personally at her Washington, D.C. residence. Let's see. There, defendant Clinton U.S. Secret Service contingent at defendant Clinton's obvious direction advised the process serve to serve defendant Clinton at her campaign headquarters. Got something trying to play here, so let me get this thing shut off. Okay. Says he continued only when defendant Clinton's campaign staff, obviously at her direction attempted to evade service of process were the documents left in the possession of security officer who did not provide his name. Further, her argument that she should be exempt from 21-day time limit to respond because she is federal employee is erroneous. Much of plaintiff's cause of action for defamation is based entirely on statements made by defendant Clinton after she had left the State Department. These statements at issue were made in either 2015 or 2016 during defendant Clinton's campaign for president, the motion argued. Clayman told WND that Clinton's lack of response to the claims was an indication of her level of concern for them. She just doesn't care. Said in a speech at the Republican National Convention in July, "I blame Hillary Clinton personally for the death of my son." The lawsuit notes the FBI found Clinton, at a minimum, was extremely careless in landing confidential and classified government information, and there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information. The case alleges that Clinton's insecure personal email setup allowed foreign powers, including but not limited to Russia, Iran, China, and North Korea, to obtain information about the Americans. Immediately after the attack, defendant Clinton, in an effort to save the re-election chances of President Barack Obama, and in turn her own chances at the 2016 presidency, lied to plaintiffs and the public at large. Attacks were caused by Islamic reaction over an anti-Muslim YouTube video. These lies were perpetuated despite the fact that she knew immediately that this video was actually not the cause of the attack. Information that she shared with the Prime Minister of Egypt and her own daughter, Chelsea Clinton, but hid from plaintiffs at large. Clinton even promised plaintiffs that the person responsible for the video would be arrested. Woods recorded the conversation with defendant Clinton contemporaneously in his diary. Now the case explains Clinton has gone on a defamatory smear campaign to paint plaintiffs as liars in the public eye in order to discredit plaintiffs who have been vocal about defendant Clinton's pattern and practice of dishonesty regarding what caused the Benghazi attack, its aftermath, and the death of their sons. That one. Now, the next one that I have for you is off of CBS46.com. And says, Georgia Environmental Agency investigating DNC bus dumping incident. This is out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. It says, Georgia's Environmental Protection Division is investigating a witness spotted a Democratic National Committee tour bus apparently dumping human waste into a storm drain. Lawrenceville police are also investigating the claim, which surfaced on Tuesday. A photo shown to us by a CBS 46 viewer showed a Democratic National Committee tour bus apparently making the dump between campaign stops. CBS 46 viewer Mike Robbins, manager of nearby business, took several photos of the tour bus dumping waste into a storm drain. In the pictures, a liquid can be seen coming from the bottom of the bus. According to Robbins, a hazardous materials crew responded to the location and collected the waste to keep more of it from entering the storm drain. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Hillary Clinton. I don't care if you're Donald Trump. I don't care who you are. You don't throw human waste down a storm drain, said Robbins. Wastewater just dumping all out in the street, poured out in the storm drain, and at this time, I've got my cell phone out and I'm taking pictures because I don't care who you are. That's just wrong. The incident happened on Grayson Highway Tuesday morning after the bus left a campaign stop near the Gwinnett County Board of Elections office, where hundreds of voters were lined up to take part in early voting. Police say when officers arrived on the scene, toilet paper was scattered on the roadway near the storm drain, and there was a foul smell. Lord have mercy. I can't make this stuff up. Says the Protection Division said their investigator responded to the scene Wednesday morning and said they're speaking with representatives from the charter company. They'll then determine what penalties most likely to the charter company. And there's video in this one if you want to take a look at that. Good Lord. Next one we have here is off the All News Pipeline. Everything is now in play as America's worst nightmares unfold. The news story on Zero Hedge linked on Steve Quayle's, or Steve, try this again, stevequayle.com this morning asked if we were closing in on a point in time in America where it might be necessary for military coup after Milwaukee Sheriff David Clark declared on Fox News it was pitchforks and torches time. As heard in the first video below, and all these videos you can take a look at your leisure, I'm not going to play them, telling us that the American people's faith in the military was soaring while faith in politicians and our mainstream media collapses as their treason and criminality against the American people is exposed. Might we soon witness a roundup with mass arrests of politicians and members of the news media who sold out the U.S. for their own profit? The news story from Jeremiah Johnson over at Ready Nutrition shares with us the 5 triggering events that could put America under martial law as we close in upon the general election and massive criminality is exposed as being committed by those who seek permanent control versus proving to the American people that we've been rigging elections for 50 years and massive voter fraud exposed by Project Veritas, who paying attention will simply accept Hillary Clinton being elected president in just weeks when more than 62% of the American people dislike her and nobody trusts her. With the American people now having 100% proof that U.S. elections are fixed, much confidence in the foundation of our current government completely shattered and destroyed, is there anything that will give American people the confidence that the government indeed works for the American people and those who sold out America held accountable? From a recent Donald Trump speech, we were told, this election will determine whether we remain a free country in the truest sense of the word or we become a corrupt banana republic controlled by large donors and foreign governments, Trump said. The election of Hillary Clinton would lead to the destruction of our country, believe me. Warning us that all of the below outlined scenarios can occur simultaneously, successively, or individually in any combination at any time. There is no limit to their use or potential to recur. Jeremiah Johnson gives us 5 scenarios that could nearly immediately turn America into a third world nation, with the only things like stopping widespread anarchy and chaos in the American streets being the U.S. military and heavily armed law enforcement officers as America's death spiral reaches endgame. Between the massive economic meltdown, cyber attack, nuclear war, or EMP attack, viral or bacterial pandemic, and or unforeseen black swan event, we're told to remember the words of Rahm Emanuel, who stated, "Never let a good crisis go to waste," and this warning of what may be coming to America. Using the fake justification in the interest of safety of the people, martial law will be declared to confine, restrict, and control the people, protecting them from themselves. Then come the restrictions to travel. The police state in the streets, at the workplace, and the confiscation of firearms. Then comes the removal of dissidents and potential troublemakers, as well as curfews, restrictions, and limitations in every facet of our society. Martial law is an objective of the Obama administration. The problem is that Obama cannot just arbitrarily declare it. The declaration requires a prod, such as one of the 5 methods mentioned. In those circumstances, he can then suspend our rights under the Constitution and bypass the true laws of the U.S. Such an end state is his desire. Such an end state would also mean the end of the United States, with possibly nothing stopping complete criminality from furthering its hold upon America, with a Hillary Clinton presidency possibly only weeks away from being assured. The new story from Washington Post tells us that some Donald Trump supporters are openly taking civil war and warn that a steal of the election by Hillary Clinton could provide the spark. While ANP stands strongly against any such violence in America, as that a former West Point instructor suggested the U.S. military would be hailed as constitutional political savior of the country if it overthrew the totally corrupt civilian government, and a surprisingly large number of Americans agree with him. Legal scholar William C. Bradford, who was forced to resign from his position as an instructor of law at West Point in August, has privately circulated a draft of an unpublished law review article entitled Alia Lacta Established the U.S. Coup of 2017. An abstract of that essay posted to Bradford's LinkedIn page enumerates a scenario in which a U.S. president, presumably Barack Obama, becomes an undisguised tyrant who must be replaced by a military junta. What if the American people were to elect a president who wants to destroy the nation and works to create division among the people, encourages a culture of ridicule for basic morality and the principles that made and sustained the country, undermine the financial stability of the nation, and weaken and destroy the military? Bradford writes, what remedies, if any, did the farmers commend to us in the event a tyrant should ever assume the presidency? Do the people have the right to resist a tyrant? And does that really hold any prospect of success without the support of the military? Does the U.S. military have the right or even the duty to intervene in the domestic politics of the United States as a constitutional and political savior when the times require it? And who makes that determination? Is such a duty incumbent upon the U.S. Armed Forces at present? What would military coup in America take down the entire chain of treason and restore America to the American people? With it becoming more and more clear every day that the globalists backing Hillary have no intention of allowing an America First president into office in Donald Trump, and now having 100% proof that the Democrats steal elections, how could American people allow President Clinton presidency and still believe we live in anything but a third world nation with Clinton government corrupt to the core? While Donald Trump and others have warned of hijacked elections and proof now that the rioters being paid by Clinton campaign have already disrupted peaceful Trump events, while evidence emerges that Obama himself may be behind violence at Trump events as well. The second video below from Daily Sheeple looks at strong possibility that this election will be stolen and or martial law declared due to one of the events described by Johnson in his story. In the third video below, our videographer gives us all the reasons why he believes Obama had something up his sleeve as we approach what might be the most important election in history, while the final video takes a look at Trump's recent statements that prove America is in deep trouble if Hillary is elected, include testimonies before Congress that proves to us the corruption runs deep, and barring Trump's election in only weeks, the American people have little recourse. With only weeks before we'll know who will take America into 2020, it's clear everything is now in play. While America's worst nightmares appear to be unfolding, the mass awakening that has taken place across the country thanks to Trump, the alternative media, and the American people gives proof God still works in grand and mysterious ways. And while Hillary recently called for interventions for Trump voters, we see that only divine intervention can save America. And there is a list of videos here in this that you can take a look at. The next one I have for you is off of LibertyRiderNews.com. It says, whoa, What Mike Pence said on Fox News today will put Hillary in prison by tomorrow. Well, we've heard these kind of things before, but let's see what the article says. On this past Fox News Sunday, Mike Pence said that he and Donald Trump are under a ridiculous level of scrutiny, and the liberal media is ignoring the avalanche of evidence about corruption, pay to play, political favoritism. Hillary Clinton's allies are all going down. She can't keep covering up everything. Then Pence dropped the hammer on the mainstream media. The American people are very, very troubled once again. Here we are in the election of such enormous magnitude in the life of this nation, and once again the media is piling on with unsubstantiated claims as the headlines, while they ignore an avalanche of hard evidence about corruption, pay to play, political favoritism, emanating out of Hillary Clinton's years as Secretary of State. We found out this week that while she was Secretary of State, her officials in that department actually directed reconstruction contracts in Haiti to friends of the Clintons. This is previously the kind of pay-to-play politics she said wasn't happening, as their foundation accepted tens of millions of dollars from foreign governments. Just this morning, the New York Times is reporting that in exchange for a 5-minute meeting, the government of Qatar pledged $1 million to the Clinton Foundation. The American people are tired of all of this, and frankly, they're very, very tired, present company accepted. They're tired of the media going after unsubstantiated allegations that Donald Trump has categorically denied, while they willfully ignore the avalanche of hard evidence about Clinton scandals, he added. Pence is right. If we don't elect Donald Trump, then this country will be sold off to the highest bidder. If you want proof, here's proof from the recent WikiLeaks. And it says, regarding foreign registered agents. And this is from J. Pomeria to, trying to make it out, I think it says red70hillaryclinton.com. And the subject is foreign registered agencies, and it says take the money, take the money, take the money, sent from an iPhone. And on April the 14th, Bobby Mook sent this out. It says, I'm trying to make it out, it's awful small type. Let me see, can I blow this up a little bit here? It says, Mark made a convincing case to me this gosh, it doesn't make any sense. Mark made a convincing case to me, this and that. These sorts of restrictions don't really get you anything. That Obama actually got judged more harshly as a result. He convinced me. So in a campaign U-turn, I'm okay just taking the money and dealing with any attacks. Are you guys okay with that? And then there's another message here. It says we really need to make a policy decision on this soon, whether we are allowing those lobbyists on behalf of foreign governments to raise money for the campaign, or case by case. And it says, here is Clinton's campaign talking about taking money from foreign donors. We need to get this out there. Hillary Clinton will sell this country down the tubes. And this goes on. There's more pages of it, but you get the basic gist here from that. And the next one I have is off of madworldnews.com. You're welcome to pull any of these articles up and read to your little heart's content if you want to. I'm just trying to give you the highlights of them. It says, Julian Assange gets sweet revenge after Hillary cuts his internet. Well, just a little over 2 weeks before the presidential election, Hillary Clinton is pulling out all the stops to keep Julian Assange's mouth shut. With no success at actually killing him, her minions did the next best thing by cutting off his internet at the embassy several days ago. Unfortunately for Hillary, a damning list has just been released highlighting the things she's done against the very country she intends to lead. The last couple of weeks of WikiLeaks data dumps have placed a very disturbing spotlight on the inner workings of Hillary and her crooked campaign, from voter fraud to accepting bribes from terrorists. The list of infractions against our country is just insane at this point. While it's difficult to weed through the thousands of emails to find the important stuff, the following is a list of 13 most damning emails that show straight up acts of treason on Hillary Clinton's part, as nicely constructed by Conservative Bite. And here's the list. Number one, Qatar gives Bill Clinton $1 million for his birthday. And there's links under each one of these if you want to go through them and click on the links and read all of it for yourself. Number two, Saudi Sheikh won't donate money to Clinton Foundation unless he receives a phone call from Bill Clinton. Staff respond, Bill won't do it unless Sheikh Mo has sent a $6 million check. Number three, Iran deal, which Hillary negotiated and defends, condemns the next generation to cleaning up a nuclear war in the Persian Gulf. John Podesta responds with, yup. Number four, Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta, owned 75,000 shares in Putin-connected energy company. Number five, transcripts from Hillary Clinton's lucrative closed-doors paid speeches delivered to elite financial firms and other special interest groups, which she has refused and failed to disclose to the public after much demand, have finally surfaced. Number six, Clinton staff conspiring to stage leaking of favorable excerpts from Wall Street speech in efforts to calm down the public while leaving out more damning parts. Number seven, leaking private speech. Clinton, you need both a public and private position. Number eight, leaked private speech. Clinton, my dream is a hemispheric common market with open trade and open borders. Number nine, leaked private speech transcript shows Clinton warm ties to Wall Street's most powerful figures. Clinton's quote, there is such a bias against people who have led successful and or complicated lives. The pressure on officials to sell or divest assets in order to serve, she added, have become very erroneous and unnecessary. Let's see. Number 10, leaked private speech to Goldman Sachs. Clinton says Wall Street was only accountable for a financial crisis for political reasons. The blame placed on the United States banking system for the crisis could have been avoided in terms of both misunderstanding and really politicizing what happened. Number 11, leaked private speech. Clinton, U.S. will ring China with missile defense and has right to rename Pacific Ocean as the American Sea. Number 12, Clinton flipped her public position on TPP after her team discussed how she would be eaten alive by labor. Number 13, Clinton's speechwriter. We are trying to find a good way to leak her opposition to the pipeline without her having to actually say it. With the majority of media in Hillary's back pocket, the only thing that we can do at this point is just keep doing our part by tirelessly working to expose her. With several polls showing Hillary lead over Trump in many swing states, we must do everything we can to shine a light on the corruption and get those people who are on the fence swayed over to our side. If this woman does wind up getting elected president, at least you can sleep at night knowing that you did everything in your power to prevent it from happening. Continue sharing stories like this and help expose the corruption. Before you go to bed at night, pray for God's mercy on our families and on our nation. If this woman gets into office, the America that we know and love will be lost forever. So there you have that one. And the next one that I have here is off of Open Mind magazine. It says Julian Assange just did it. WikiLeaks dispenses 23,000 Hillary emails marked C for confidential, classified. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange told us a month ago that the next batch of leaked Hillary emails could lead to an indictment. Now over 23,000 cables were just put out for the world to see. And let's see, we'll go on down here. And this, it says, no, not that she would have no idea what a classified marking would be, Comey responded. It's an interesting question to whether she was actually sophisticated enough to understand what a C in parentheses means. She didn't get it, you guys. Cut her a break. Classic. That's who I want running the country, an old woman who doesn't understand what she's doing. Are Democrat voters honestly foolish enough to believe Hillary did nothing wrong? And there's video in that one if you'd like to see those. And the next one that I have for you says, I swear they're even sweeping the bottom of the barrel here. It says LibertyWritersNews.com. Donald Trump's butler just, oh, it's got an ad trying to come up here. I got to get rid of that so I can read the article. Holy moly. Gosh. And I can't get the article to, or the ad to go way off of this. Well, I'll be dogged. I don't know why that won't go away. Doesn't seem to have an X on it any place to make it go bye-bye. Well, anyway, Donald Trump's butler just revealed a secret to make Trump win the election. And he says it never happened. Come on, that's just bull crap. And I wish I could get this ad thing to go off of here. I don't know. Let me try to reload the page and see if that'll make it disappear. For goodness sakes, I don't know why they do that. If they want you to read the article, they shouldn't put ads over top of it. Now, Hillary Clinton may have the media on her side, but Donald Trump still has a lot of friends. Now, one of the closest friends, his butler, Anthony Tony Sanal, has come forward with a statement that will change the entire election. Tony got fed up after all the accusations that Hillary has thrown towards Trump about sexual harassment, including cases in the Mar-a-Lago resort where Tony works. That's why he came back with this groundbreaking statement saying, no, that never happened. Come on, that's just bullcrap. And there's video in this if you want to see the video. And it says, yeah, this comes from a man who's actually there when the alleged assaults took place. You see, People magazine writer Natasha Stoynoff wrote an essay this week about how she was groped by Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago during an interview with early 2000. Lies. And Anthony Senecal is not the only person calling out her fake story. Melania, who was also mentioned in the article, came out with a statement debunking everything she said and even got her lawyers involved. So basically, you have two options of what you can believe here. Number one, Donald Trump is totally innocent and Hillary Clinton is simply trying to frame him in a set of lies. Or number two, despite all the inconsistencies, you for some reason still believe Trump groped the reporter. Anyone with half a brain is going to take option one. If you think more people need to hear Trump's butler story, then do us all a favor and share this out on your Facebook. And there's more to it if you want to go to the next pages and read all that. I just thought that was funny that now they've even drug out Donald's butler. Oh my God. I can't make this stuff up. Home, off of myhughes.net, I think is what it's called. HughesNet. Says official. Thousands of Indiana voter registrations are altered. Out of my home state. My goodness gracious. It's out of Indianapolis. Says Indiana's chief elections official said Tuesday that thousands of voter registrations were altered, raising concerns about possible fraud and prompting her office to warn voters to check whether their information is correct online and vote early and avoid problems on election day. Secretary of State Connie Lawson, in a statement, that Indiana's online voter registration database had not been hacked, but records were changed on paper forms online and at a business or a Bureau of Motor Vehicles office. At this time, my office is not sure why these records were changed, but we have evaluated the statewide voter registration system and have found no indication it has been compromised, said Lawson, a Republican. The Indiana incident comes amid heightened scrutiny of voting systems ahead of the general election on November the 8th. The Department of Homeland Security has warned states of attempts to hack election systems, and Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump has repeatedly said at rallies that the election could be rigged without providing any evidence. Election experts say cases of election fraud have been rare in the past. In addition to the presidential vote, Indiana has two fiercely contested statewide races to replace Governor Mike Pence, who became Trump's running mate, and to succeed retiring U.S. Senator Dan Coats. The Indiana voter registration problem surfaced when voters contacted the Secretary of State's office after discovering through the online system voters can use to check their registration status that their dates of birth or first names were incorrect, the office said. That prompted the office to run a report in the statewide systems, and it found that thousands of registrations had been altered. The office declined to provide a more precise number. All of those who contacted the office after discovering the changes had voted in Indiana's May primary, Lawson's office said. And there's more pages to this if you want to read up more on that. I will say this, I knew about this and reported on problems with Indiana's voter registrations. Gosh, it's been about a week ago now. It was before the cutoff for voter registration. And I did call my Board of Elections to verify that everything was proper on my registration. I don't know how many other people in Indiana did that, but it put my mind at ease, and I did vote in the early voting as soon as the polls opened up. So I've got that all out of the way now. Now all I have to do is report to the rest of you on all this foolishness that's going on. My. And this just in. Off of regated.com, it says, earpiece in Clinton's ear during the final debate, ? Was Hillary Clinton actually caught with an earpiece during the final, NBC News live stream picks up a voice helping Hillary Clinton find her words. During the third and final debate, Hillary Clinton was beginning to stumble on statement, a whisper saying dozens, then interrupts to put her back on track. Internet exploded with speculation that Clinton had an earpiece, and they may be right. How will she address this? Are they colluding with the media, or was it an inside job with the campaign? People are beginning to suspect it's a high-frequency device aimed at her ear. It's believed the microphone took the shot due to a bad shot having the microphones pick up the communication. And there is video of this if you want to take a look at the video. Oh my goodness. Well, I'll tell you what, that is the end of the special report. And I'm going to really try my very best not to clutter up your current events with a bunch of stuff from this election. So with that, we'll close her down and oh my, wait for the next exciting episode. Bye.